There he is, Sid Berg. How are you, Sid? Welcome back to Uptown Villa Park.
Well, thank you, and it's about time we got back on the air, Al. I really think our hiatus was a little too long. And
Well, that's good.
between the
We're
two of
back
us,
now, so we're going to be going through a lot of things that have been going on since we were gone. And let's tell the folks a little bit about what has happened to our friend here, our friend Dennis. He's off on ill, right?
Dennis has had an operation,
And he's recuperating
and
nicely,
he
isn't
is
he?
recuperating, and he has to wear a brace around his neck to keep his neck and his head completely immobile.
Well, he
And
looked
he
good
is-
yesterday. He was doing some pretty good things at our village cable commission meeting, and he looked sharp. He looked ready. We're going to have him back soon, don't you think?
I think we'll have him back. I asked him to come back now, even with the brace on, and I think he said, no, we'll wait, because he just might get too excited, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
and
we'll give him his privacy until he's ready to go, and we will welcome him back as soon as Dennis Keating, our co-host, is all healed up, and I know he's doing pretty well.
I think I have to agree with you completely on that. A little aside, I noticed in a headline in the Daily Herald that right on top it says, Rio's water poses big risk to the Olympic venues. I'll get it out eventually. It's the store-bought teeth that are bothering me that don't stop the pronunciation right, not the brain. And but they said there's something like 1.73 billion adenoviruses per liter. By this June, it was down to 248 million adenoviruses per liter. And in California, the viral readings are in the thousands per liter. If they do that, they set off alarm bells. And now bringing that back home, our own Salt Creek, which sometimes you call it Stink Creek, or other words a little worse than that. And but going through the various sanitary treatment plants, like our own Salt Creek sanitary plant, they have water that was, I don't know how they do it now, they constantly test, of course, but they had fish swimming in a big tank with the water going completely through. And if any of those fish looked like they were in trouble, or even if they died, then we were really looking at the water, the treatment plant, and seeing what was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, it was above the sanitary part of the water going back into the creek was above the what was needed. When I say above that, it was safer than the parts that were put on to the EPA says it's the safe limits, and they were well below that. That's what
Okay.
I'm trying to say. So we can be proud of that. Of course,
Sounds good. I know a lot of it has come up about the Rio Olympics, not only what you just mentioned about water quality, but also the Zika virus that is rampant in South America. Now it's showing up in Florida in a couple of non-travel related incidents, I think about 10 or 12 people. And, you know, to hold people back and say, wait a second, I want to refer them to a show that we've got on our cable channel that Mari did, our public information officer, that spoke to one of the representatives that was at our village board meeting and discussed what they're doing to prevent this very minor problem related to Zika virus in our area. It doesn't exist right now. It's not a real hazard for us. And even when it does become something that will infect people by being bitten by a mosquito that's infected by the virus, you have to be in a certain medical condition for even to have any symptoms. So when we went through the process of the West Nile virus years back, unfortunately, yes, we did have a person in Villa Park that was inflicted by it and passed away. But even the DuPage County Health Department would tell you about the West Nile virus and also the Zika virus. It's not that catastrophe that's weighing over us. If you're in good health, you probably won't even have any symptoms if you had a minor chance of being bitten by a mosquito from a Zika virus infected mosquito. So please watch that program and get some details. It just is good to know how to prevent mosquitoes in your yard, in your downspouts, in your maybe your water collections that you do in your yard for your gardening, and it will help everybody be at ease with that. But Olympics is coming. Sid, you're an Olympics fan?
I like it.
Yeah?
I like it. I have never attended the Olympic events, but of course, and that's probably been from money constraints or other things. My friends were out at the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City a couple of years back. And of course I thought, well, my golly, you have to have thermals on, and I'd have to have big, heavy insulated boots because my feet get cold easily.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've never been to the Olympics, but I enjoy watching them. I've watched a lot of the Olympic trials, like the diving and the gymnastics, and they showed our U.S. Student athletes, most of them, who are Olympic eligible now, and I'm looking forward to watching it. This is the Summer Olympics version, so we'll see swimming and diving, we'll see gymnastics, we'll see the outdoor events, and we do pretty well with that.
We will see just about everything. And Al, I would like to bring up something akin to the Olympics, but it's called the, I think, Paralympics. And we have a girl that was formerly from Villa Park that is challenged. Ann is her name. And she was running in a 100-yard dash and came in second in the Illinois State Special Olympics.
That's awesome.
And Anna, if you ever watch us, I think I still think the world of you.
That's great. And we know that our local police department does a lot to help support the Special Olympics by doing their torch run. And we've participated in that and gotten some good feedback from the community. So everybody that was involved with helping to support those fundraisers, both at the Dunkin' Donuts when they did the Cop on the Top event here at the Dunkin' Donuts in St. Charles in '83, and also more events like that took place where they did actual torch run and ran through the community up to Elmhurst, where they passed the torch on to the Elmhurst Police Department. And our officers were and explorers were well represented in that group and ran all the way. We got some great pictures of that too. So lots of good things related to the Special Olympics right here in Villa Park. Our own Ann getting that great award, and our police department and community helping support that. You agree?
Absolutely.
That's good. I like when you agree with me. That's a good thing, Sid.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, I wanted to get to
what
something
can we
that...
disagree on?
Well, we don't need to. I got to Cortese Park earlier this morning, and I wanted to show a couple of pictures of what's going on there. And if you haven't been by Cortese Park, let me just explain where it is. It is on Kenilworth Avenue between Cortese and Myrtle. And here you see a picture of the memorial, the Veterans Memorial that was put in that park. Brand new, beautiful memorial with flags and bricks on the pavement in the circle that you see there. And also you see those pillars. I'm going to show you pictures of what's on those pillars that the flagpoles are next to, where we honor those who were fallen in previous wars and conflicts in each service branch for each one of those pillars. And Sid, the VFW is involved in part of this not only the design, but also the continuing memorial that goes on there. Tell them about that.
We have bricks that would honor people, veterans, and their families that would be they would be placed inside the memorial area, where And
Here's an example, one of them on the screen. Look at the name on there. What does it say? Pate Phillip.
James Pate Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one. As you,
But you remember who that was?
Old-timers would know that Pate Phillips was not only a friend of Villa Park, but he was the Senate leader in Springfield for years and years.
Here in the state of
and
Illinois.
he was Mr.
Right.
Republican.
Yeah, and that gives you an example of the bricks that you're talking about. It shows the name of James Pate Phillip. Marine Corporal is what that represents, and the year. And it could be a lot of different things. Some of them actually have graphics of the Marine Corps emblem that's on their brick. Others show or depict the conflict or the war that they served during, and others are just, thank you, Dad, or thank you, Mom, or whoever it might be. So it's a great representation of the veterans that have been in our community, right? And you're one of them.
They're still open. You can put in honor a grandfather, a great-grandfather, or a son or a grandson that would be in the service right now.
Yeah.
And the bricks, they charge 50 bucks. That's U.S. dollars, that is, and for a brick. And I think you can have 3 lines on each, saying whatever you want to say about that person. And the applications are available. It's in the main spot is our VFW hall at 39 East St. Charles Road. And you can get them, there's somebody there from 8 till noon every day, every working day.
That
and
sounds
you can
good.
Get information.
I've got to get a couple of those. I have my father and father-in-law that I want to get represented there, so I'm going to take care of that soon. Another part of that memorial, besides the bricks, is this listing, and this is the Army listing, Army branch, of all of the Army veterans who were lost in a war. And it shows on this screen here World War II, Vietnam, and the War on Terror. So listed there and in like a brass, almost like a
It's a
trophy,
bronze.
bronze representation of every branch where we have lost someone who was a member of the community here in Villa Park. So that's really a poignant part of that memorial. And then there's flags for each branch, right? That's it?
There's a flag for each branch, and we finally recognized the merchant marine in World War II because of the fact that so many ships and men were lost, bringing supplies, especially to Europe and to the Japanese type people
In the Pacific.
battling
Yeah.
on in the Japanese sort of Pacific War. And in fact, we just did a wake for a gentleman from Elmhurst who was on what they call the Armed Guard, which was actual Navy placed on most of the merchant ships, at least in the Atlantic, where they would be trying to ward off submarine attacks. And it was not what you would call the easiest duty at all.
Mm. Yeah,
And
out
so
on the
we
ocean.
have the 6 flags, the Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, and the Air Force, and the Merchant Marine.
Yeah, that's nice.
And Old
nobody's missed.
Glory flies above them all.
That's right, right in the center. Now, right across the street, we want to talk about this a little bit because I've got some new information, is the old post office. And you remember that was built in the 1930s here in Villa Park, was the main post office on Main Street, which is now Kenilworth, for years. And it was built primarily to support the additional need for Ovaltine, right?
That's, they got a first-class post office, whatever it was in those days, but yes.
Yeah, so that post office now is vacant. It's been vacated by the U.S. Postal Service, but it went on the market and was available for anyone to purchase. And we have a person here in town that I ran into at Summerfest. Mr. Gross, Ralph Gross, and he has informed me that after years of negotiations that he has gone through, that he has, in his mind, resolved every issue that has come up with the closing of that property with the U.S. government. So he is very much looking forward to relocating his business into that property, and now it won't be a vacant building anymore. And he wants to refurbish the building back to the original state. So the outside, the facade, and all the things that are out there, the ramps and the rails that are there will be redone, and the interior as well. He wants to make it look like what it did when it was a working post office. And the reason why he likes to do that or wants to do that is not only because he's into the history of Villa Park, but his parents were part of Villa Park, and he wants to honor their representation in the village by keeping things the way they were in an era when they were part of our trustee group, and you served with one of them, right?
Yes, he is a second generation. Ralph and Joanne Gross, I believe, started the business. Joanne and I were on the board, village board, at the same time, and we kind of locked horns a little bit once in a great while, but that's mainly because I can be a maverick and sometimes ask the wrong questions, but in the right way.
No,
but
you wouldn't
yes,
do that.
and they still, in fact, you can meet Ralph and Joanne Gross almost every morning at Highview Restaurant.
Yeah, that's
having
real close to
breakfast.
where his office is now, yeah,
Yeah.
down St. Charles Road, sure, sure.
And I can remember that post office when it was being built. I think I was around probably 10 years old if it was 1936. In fact, we as living in the area at one time was, that was in the excavation for the basement. I remember climbing down a makeshift ladder that the contractors may have built at that time, and having somebody come out and say, "Hey, you kids, get out of there! You can get hurt."
Yeah,
Something like that.
you were a regular hooligan, weren't you? Yeah, well, there's other properties around that space. We're going to show you right now a picture of another property that's going to be important to the village, and that is on Kenilworth and Villa Avenue. This nondescript building that you see on the screen here is going to become a new business on Villa Park, and it was an office for some company for a while. Now they're out of there. But right on Kenilworth and Villa is going to be a new microbrewery and restaurant. And the folks that have the Ardmore Liquors at Ardmore and the Metro Station near Vermont, they have a facility there. They also have one on Ardmore just a little bit south of Park Boulevard, the Ardmore Liquors that used to be the J&J's convenience store. They were approved for a liquor license and not yet occupancy, but a liquor license to build a microbrewery at this facility. And in fact, it came up recently in the village board meeting in that they had to redo the water supply off of Kenilworth into this building because it was not up to par. And they worked a deal out to get that done so that they can progress with their interior that they're rebuilding for that. So there'll be yet another opportunity for us to enjoy food and spirits right there on Villa Avenue. You've got Michael Anthony's, you've got Josephine's, you've got Mahoney's, and down the street here, just about a half a block down Kenilworth, is Demito's Double D's. So lots of great places now. We'll be able to, basically walk amongst
Circulate
4 or 5 of
around.
them. That's going to be cool, right?
That building, I believe, is on the northwest corner of Kenilworth and Villa.
Right.
And, you mentioned the scene that Main Street was now Kenilworth. Well, Main Street ran the 2 blocks from Villa Avenue to in front of the post office, and I think that's Euclid, is it? That was where it ended, and Kenilworth then became going westbound.
Oh, it's Cortese and Myrtle around
And
the post office.
now it's Cortese,
Right.
and it's now it became Kenilworth. They
Right.
wiped Main Street out,
Right.
and then now it's also Veterans Parkway.
Yes. Honorable Veterans Memorial Parkway, and I was happy to be part of making that happen with Dennis Geisman, here at the village. So that's a good thing. And by the way, there is a Cortese nephew, Dr. L.R. Cortese. His nephew comes to our car show every Sunday, and he's got a great car he brings in, and I just love talking to him. Nice little Italian guy. He's awesome, and I really get a chance to hear more about the family and what it was like for him. So Cortese still lives among us here in Villa Park, even after the Dr. Cortese, which the park is named for, has passed on. So, and you remember Doc Cortese, right?
If you don't know, Doc Cortese was a surgeon in World War II, came to Villa Park. His wife Genevieve was a nurse, combat nurse, with him, and he opened his practice in Villa Park, and was a part of the community, a very big part of the community. You'd come into his office, and sometimes you'd have to sit for a while because it was first come, first serve. And but he had a love of the fire department, and he was a fire department physician, and he was instrumental, with several other people, of course, in changing our fire department from all volunteers to paid on call to a regular full-time fire department with I think everybody now is a paramedic. Am I correct in saying that, Al?
In Villa Park, they are all certified as paramedics, including the lieutenants. The deputy chief and the chief may have stopped their paramedic certification, but every one of our firefighters, men and women, are paramedics in Villa Park. Yeah.
You know, there's another gentleman that was a lifelong resident of Villa Park by the name of Al Lucchesi. And Al was, Albert was I think, born in Villa Park. I know he was raised here. Before the war, I remember him playing softball. And after the war, he began softball. But he was the gentleman that was, he actually turned the lights out at the Ovaltine company when they went out of business. And when we say that, he was the one that, as a chief maintenance man, actually disconnected the electricity to the building.
Yeah.
So he can always brag, I turned the lights off.
Yeah. Well, that property has been mentioned several times after its role as a manufacturing plant for Ovaltine, and that is it became Lincoln Properties at Ovaltine, now Ovaltine Court, where there are over 350 apartments in that space, not only the old factory space, which are loft apartments, but the outbuildings that surround it, going up to Wildwood and back to Monterey and Villa Avenue and the Prairie Path. So that whole section is now living space for 350 different apartments, and they are more than 95% occupied for the last several years. The rents at that property, at the time I was a tenant, as a commercial tenant on 99 South Villa, were from anywhere from $1,200 a month on up, and they're all apartments. They are not condominiums. So they're a higher end living space, and we have a new project that's coming to town that we've talked about several times called Garden Station, that's going to be at the Metro Station and Ardmore, going all the way to Vermont and Beverly, the streets that surround that square block. That was approved not long ago as a development here in Villa Park. $44, $45 million is going to be invested there to build a 6-story, 230-unit apartment space, ranging in price from $1,600 now on up, and a couple of townhomes, but just a beautiful, beautiful addition to Villa Park that Golden Spike is going to bring to this community. And you know what it's like to get developments like that underway. It's not a simple task.
Oh, my golly. We did, when the Ovaltine was there, there were several people that took control of it, and one fellow was, his name escapes me right now, but he was a very personable man, but he couldn't get it off the ground.
Yeah.
And we were worried, so that makes me ask this question of you, if you know, on the new development by the train station, the Golden Spike, is it?
Yes.
The Golden Spike. Are they fully funded now?
Yeah, one of the things that they pointed out as part of the agreement with the Village of Villa Park is the funding resources that they have, and they've gone through PNC Bank. And another factor, which was the most recent action taken by the village board, was to understand the agreement with the village in terms of how they're going to progress through the construction phase, and also the insurance on the loan that they're going to have, which is through the U.S. Department of Human and Urban Development, Housing and Urban Development, HUD, a HUD loan guarantee. And so the loan is going to be guaranteed by the federal government, and they have described that as being a gold standard for mortgage insurance, the way we feel or think about it as a homeowner. But the loan insurance that they're going to get is through HUD or HUD. And as soon as you say the word HUD in any project, people think, well, it's going to be low-income housing. Absolutely not. It is there is no, as they call it, Section 8 housing or HUD funded housing in that project. It's not funded by them. It's the insurance of the loan is for HUD. So the apartments that will be in that project will be $1,600 and up per month rental, not condominiums. So no one's making a big investment when they go in there. They're going in there to have a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. Garden apartments will be options there too. They'll have great amenities. I had said before there's not going to be a pool. I was wrong. There is going to be a pool in the center courtyard area of the buildings that's going to go up there, as well as other amenities like exercise facilities and retail space along Ardmore Avenue, going where now we see Ardmore Liquors and Montecasino Cafe Grill. That will be retail space for the property owners, and that's not the primary thing. It's not about building business space in that area. It's about the rental property. So it's going to be 230 units, and you know there's another project that's going on in our area in Elmhurst. It's called 2-something Elmhurst. It used to be 290 York Road. Now they changed it to 2-something Elmhurst. That project took 11 years, similar to like Ovaltine, in order to get off the ground. They started it with, you know, acquiring the space, et cetera, in the village, and the amenities and all the things that had to be built around it. And now they are building a 6-story, 190-unit apartment complex right near North and York Road, North Avenue and York Road. It actually goes back towards Addison Road, which is just west of York Road. And that is a good example of what will be here in Villa Park. Actually more apartments in our space than what is there. It's also 6 stories. This apartment complex on the Garden Station will be 6 stories at its highest. And underground parking, so there's more than enough spaces for the tenants to park underground and not have to spread out or go into the metro lot, which they won't do. As I said, a little bit of retail space on the front for maybe a restaurant and bakery, you know, clothing, cleaners, that kind of thing. So it's a good space, and they did a great meeting at Allegra Banquets to discuss the project before it came to the board for the final action, and it has. So hopefully they'll get started in 2017 after the first of the year and get things rolling and have a nice new property here in Villa Park. Right, Sid?
That is something, Al. I just wanted to say this. I had understood that the Ovaltine people, the Lincoln people from in the Ovaltine project,
Yeah.
they say that their building is 97% occupied,
Right.
and that 3% is people, the spot between people moving out and people moving
In transit, yeah. Yeah,
So
pretty
that
much, yeah.
in actual practice, that would be 100% occupied,
Right, right.
and that's fabulous.
And you know, people say there's no market for that. Yeah. Okay, wait. 100% occupied for all intents and purposes at Ovaltine. And add to that a new project, Garden Station project, that is right next to, I mean, you could fall out your window and be on the train platform for the metro station going
There's
downtown.
a new one, yes.
To have public transportation on your doorstep. And you look at the properties in downtown Chicago, Lincoln Park area and Rogers Park, all of those, the River North area, all of those people that live close to where they work have an apartment. Some of them don't even have a car. They don't need a car. They don't want a car because it's too expensive to park a car in the city of Chicago, or too much trouble to rent a garage or find a space. You know, putting your chair out to hold your space doesn't happen in those areas. So they don't have cars, and they use public transportation. So this is right in line with that clientele, and not just young people. It's also in line for seniors who are now no longer willing to maintain a house and property that is just too much trouble for them to maintain. So now they can move into a garden apartment or an apartment like this and live with all of the amenities and let somebody else shovel the snow and cut the grass and do all the things that they've been doing for all these years.
And they're going to have all the all the fun of going into the city.
That's right.
And the plays and all the attractions
Yeah.
that Chicago has to offer, which are multitudinous.
Yes, and that's a good word. You just made that one up, but that's a good word, multitudinous. I had the opportunity, I had my grandchildren with me, for my wife and I, for a little bit over a week, and we went downtown on the train. I took them down there. They live out in Pennsylvania, so it was a big deal because they'd never seen any building even close to the sizes that are downtown in Chicago. So I took pictures with my granddaughters with the Willis Tower. We know it as the Sears Tower behind them, and they just, you know, had their necks stretched out looking up. But one of the things that was really awesome, and I've lived here in the Chicago area. I was born in Chicago. Lived all my life. I used to work downtown. I went downtown for years on the train, and I kept seeing those boats on the river. You know, when you cross from the train station and go to work, those boats on the river, and they used to be called Wendella boats. That's all that was there. Okay. Now I took them down there and I said, we are going to go on that boat and go up to Michigan Avenue, do shopping on Michigan Avenue. They have places for the kids like at American Girl doll store and Legos and stuff. And we're going to go down and we're going to go on that boat. Well, I did that with my grandchildren live here in town, and I did that. And I got to tell you, I was overjoyed by it. It's $5 per ticket to go from the train station on Madison Avenue and the bridge and the river to Michigan Avenue. Okay, I think a cab is a little bit more than that if you're going to take a cab. And you sit in an open area or an enclosed area. If you don't want to be outside, you can sit inside. Drive down the river, go around the bend up to Michigan Avenue. You get out and you walk from there. And the first stop we made was at the Cheeseburger. I'll think of the name in a second. The cheeseburger restaurant by the Greek guy that was made famous by Saturday Night Live. Billy Goat's. Billy Goat's.
Oh,
Tavern.
Billy Goat's Inn,
Yes.
yeah.
And went in there and had some burgers. And then we got out of there, and half a block away or a block away is Michigan Avenue. And it was awesome. And then coming back, we were able to hook up with the train outbound to Villa Park and get off, and take the boat tour back to the train station. We did have to run to get to the train, but we got there, got back to Villa Park, and it was a great, great day. But during the week, it's only $4 to take a ride on that. And the options are you can go up to Michigan Avenue and then they come back, or you can go south from the train stations to Chinatown and get off in Chinatown. So next time we're going to go that direction and enjoy that, because Chinatown is an awesome place to visit with all the restaurants there, and I like Chinese food. And it's just a different world over there. So I want to take them to experience that. And that's what I really like to do, is take kids out, get them away from pushing their thumbs on a screen somewhere. And they love going out and seeing all this stuff. And we've got some good things here in Villa Park they can see, right, Sid?
Oh, have we ever. Some of the things are, right now at the gazebo on the Prairie Path, it's on Thursday. It's going to be that's at Veterans Park.
Wednesdays are the concerts.
Wednesday is that's over now, isn't it?
Yeah, the concerts for Wednesday night, the Kiwanis concerts have ended. I think there's one more. Somebody's telling me, Dennis Keating was telling us there's one more this week, and he knows everything. I don't argue with Dennis. If he says it's happening, it's happening. But you mentioned the next one's coming up, which is Cortese Park, right?
Yeah,
on Thursday nights,
and Thursday.
starting this Thursday night.
And as this Thursday night and yesterday or last night, this program, by the way, is being recorded on a Tuesday on August 2nd. And there was a movie in the park with a screen set up, and the road is partially blocked, where people could bring their chairs, their blankets, anything they wanted to see a free movie. First run, not first run, but a good, what we would term, some people would term as classics. And,
Did you go up there, Sid?
I went by there, and my persuasion last night, for reasons unknown, is just because of maybe it's the old solidified gray matter. I decided to go to a casino.
You thought you were going to make $1 million again. Well, that's good. I hope you did it all at the casino.
I think I came out about even.
Yeah?
So that's making money.
Well, you got free entertainment then, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, yeah, you mentioned the movies, and we want to compliment the Villa Park Parks and Recreation Department because they're one of the sponsors of those movies, as well as the Villa Park Public Library that does that. So that will be several nights this month, and the concerts start Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, I think, 7:30, and they will be in Cortese Park on Kenilworth and Cortese, just a block west of Villa Avenue and Kenilworth. And those are free concerts. You bring your lawn chair, you bring your blanket, you sit in the grassy area there, and you'll be able to be entertained with great entertainment. They will have food there. I think they're having someone cook, or maybe one of the vendor trucks there. I'm not
Maybe
sure
I can tell you that
Yeah.
again. I promised Al that I wouldn't say this about talk about the VFW whatsoever, but I have
That's
to
all
now
right.
because the VFW will have a beer truck, and we'll be having a grill, so doing hot dogs, and I don't know what
for
else.
the concert nights.
For the concert nights.
Great, great. Look
And,
forward to it.
they're
I will
gonna-
be there.
We're going to try that, and our own Tim Conley as commander is. Well, this morning he was making plans out when I talked to him.
Yeah, yeah. I've met Tim a couple of times, and I know you work with him frequently because you're on the governing body of the VFW again this year. And Tim is our newest commander for the VFW, and he is just so conscientious. He is so into everything that goes on at that VFW, along with his wife, who is part of the auxiliary, I believe. And I couldn't be happier with his enthusiasm for everything that happens at the VFW. I really like that guy. Tim's a great guy.
He is truly an asset to us, to the club. When I say us, it's because I've been a member for 64 years.
Yeah.
And but it's still going. Our VFW post is going strong, and it's getting. We weather like any other organization. We will have crisis coming up, and we've weathered them all, and we'll continue to serve the community and the veterans, primarily veterans, and the community is again one of the things that we do.
Yeah.
And of course, as long as I'm talking about it, tonight is Tuesday, bingo, and with the possibility of winning $5,000, which we have as our main raffle. $5 grand, and that's gone a couple of times.
Yeah.
And there's several other raffles along with the bingo. We all have a good time doing it.
You get a good crowd there?
We get a nice crowd. We get somewhere between 80 and 100
That's
as
nice.
usual. And of course, we're always looking for more.
Yeah.
But we've come to, even the volunteers have a good time. They want to come. They look forward to it. Me especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, the fish fry is still going good on Fridays.
Right.
And the fish fry is using North Atlantic cod as its main thing. Of course, there's shrimp and other things going on. And
Well, you skipped Thursday nights. We got a conflict. We got either the concert at the Cortese Park, but also Thursday night is what at the VFW? Wing night, right?
no,
When's wing night?
Wednesday, wing night, they decided to drop it.
Oh, they dropped it.
Yeah, Wednesday night becomes now a build-your-own taco night.
Build your own taco night on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and that's becoming very popular.
Yeah, good.
And when I say build your own, you get your taco shell is cooked and the meat is put on it, and then you go to a spot and you can put on what you want. All the onions, lettuce, tomatoes.
I'm going to guess
whatever.
something that you put on hot sauce. Do you put on hot sauce on your taco when you make a
No,
taco?
no. That's one of the things that I've been against. I'm not a spicy drinker or eater.
I've seen you eat, as we go out to lunch sometimes, I've seen the stuff that you eat. You have a cast iron stomach, Sid. You love onions, right?
I love them.
And you load up on onions.
I enjoy most foods. In fact, I used to have to laugh at my late departed wife, who was a very finicky eater, and I could eat anything.
Yeah.
Just
You
about.
have a cast iron stomach. You have to. Yeah.
I don't know if it's cast iron or not, but I enjoy what goes in.
Yeah. Well,
And I enjoy eating.
VFW's got a lot of things going on, and that's important. And the other thing that people need to remember is that the VFW is a banquet facility as well for parties and events, that people can rent that beautiful room that was rebuilt after the fire in the VFW. And how many people can get in there? Do you know?
We can put about 200 in our oak room.
Yeah.
And it runs to about 75 to 80 in the acorn room.
And that's downstairs, and that's a
in the
smaller
lower
space.
level.
Yeah.
And there's the bar is a long bar now.
Yeah.
And we've gotten, just talking about this this morning, we've gotten used to the idea, as opposed to having the horseshoe bar, we now have just a long bar, and we've gotten used to it. And it's still a spot for people to socialize, veterans and their friends and everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody is welcome. And of course, the bad part is that we have 5 casino-type machines.
You say that bad sarcastically.
That's the bad part, because I love video poker.
Yeah, yeah. So you feed the machines a little bit. But people win on those machines. I mean, you can win money there.
Oh, yeah. Now, it's actually true the way the state of Illinois puts it, but we've had payouts something like $200,000 and some
Wow.
a month.
Yeah.
Now, what that simply means is people don't go home with $200,000. No, I always put most of it back in.
Yeah, yeah. You keep feeding the machine, yeah. Well,
And just the fun, the old Channel 7, Al, the old Channel 7 sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
yeah, ABC Sports, yes, I remember that. Well, I love the VFW. They're doing great things. We'll be out there Thursday. We'll take part in their beer tent and our beer truck and food, and we'll also watch the band that's out there. We don't know who's out there, but I want to mention that this Saturday at Cortese Park, this group will be there, and that is the Miners of Rock. They were at the Summerfest this last year, and these are kids from, a couple of them are from Jackson Junior High School, middle school, excuse me, and they are, you see they have these Beatles-like haircuts. They do play Beatles music, and they're pretty darn good, and they were just at the VFW last Thursday, right, Sid?
I believe so.
Yeah, those kids were up there performing at the VFW for an event, right?
Al, 2 things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
August 4th, the band will be Mr. Meyer. The 11th will be Lincoln Don't Lie. And the 18th is Bopology.
Yeah.
And the 25th, well, the last, there are 2 words, but the last one is Voodoo. And none of these organizations I know.
Zydeco Voodoo, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Zydeco.
New Orleans style jazz, yes.
Oh, New Orleans style jazz. That's Dixieland. That's
Yeah,
my
that's
old
good stuff.
2
That's
beat,
good stuff.
beat.
You'll be hopping for that one.
Yeah.
And those are the, you mentioned the names, just to repeat, those are the concerts at Cortese Park on Thursday nights through August.
And now, tell me more about the car show that you're doing every Sunday night that is getting a bunch of cars out.
Yeah, we're getting great cars, and it's growing. We are in our third season with the car show here at Cortese Park, and the building project that's going on at Cortese Park has helped us a lot because that gives us an opportunity to utilize the restrooms that are in the storage building that was refurbished and it's still underway. But it also gives us a great, beautiful park and a memorial. A lot of people go see that memorial we talked about earlier in the show while they're at the car show. And in the circle or loop that goes around the park space there, we park classic cars. Some of them are 1920s, some of them 30s, some 40s, etc. We had a couple of beautiful cars here last week, Sunday. This was our fourth week. And we will go every Sunday from 4 to 8 p.m. through September 25th. That will be the last night of the show. And a lot of the areas around us, Lombard, Downers Grove, etc., they end at the end of this month, August. They're done for the year. We go another month. There's still great weather in September. I don't have to tell anybody that lives in Chicago about September weather. It's some of the best weather of the year. And also October is not bad too. And they kind of push me to make it go even into October. And I got to have some time Sundays at home. But a lot of good people helping me run that, and we've got some more volunteers that are going to be working that. And we take advantage of that beautiful park, and we don't cause a ruckus in the neighborhood. We are there at Cortese Park to support the businesses along Villa Avenue. So last week we had pizza from Michael Anthony's, which is on Villa Avenue, 200-some South Villa Avenue. They have great pizzas and Italian food, and we got pizzas, and we shared them with all of the car owners there. We're going to have, as I mentioned, this group there next Sunday night, the Miners of Rock, and we're going to do things for Union Night, where we have people who've created these cars, these beautiful cars that came from the 60s and 70s that were the classic cars that we have a lot of at the show. We're going to invite the UAW, the IBEWs, the other unions that were part of building these cars to come out and talk to us about it, including our local fire union, etc., so that we can honor the union folks on September 5th, which is a Sunday. September 4th, which is a Sunday, and just before Labor Day, so it's an appropriate time to do that. And it's a great event. I love doing it. We get rained out sometimes. We get heated out sometimes, like we did a week ago. So we didn't have a lot of cars, but every week we have a best of show contest where we give out a trophy. It's a 12-inch trophy, and we vote online for it. So you can go to SundayNightCarShow.com, SundayNightCarShow.com, and look for Best of Show. You'll click on that, and you'll see the 20-some cars that are eligible this week to be voted on. You can vote 500 times. Just like the city of Chicago, you vote often.
You took you took the words right out of my mouth. If it's a Chicago-style voting in the old days.
And it's a great, and the guy that won last week, Ray, with his pickup truck, had lots of friends voting for him, and he got 64,001 votes to win. The second place had 48,000 votes.
And you know, Al, I think they did a lot of tapping.
A lot of people did a lot of tapping. Yeah. And they know the system, they know how to work it, and that's good. And that's what we want. It's kind of like American Idol voting, you know, where you can vote as many times as you want. And they're having fun with it. And I looked at it this week, and there's a lot of votes with a lot of cars this time. So everybody's getting the plan or the system worked out. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that. We have a beautiful car show. Come and see these kids. They're great kids. Support them. We're bringing them out there to play at Cortese Park this Sunday. They'll be starting their show at 5 p.m. and they'll play for an hour.
And the cars, the variety of cars. One of the guys that shows all the time, who is getting very active as a volunteer in Villa Park, is Wild Bill.
Yeah.
And Wild Bill looks almost like a homeless man. But he's got a brain on him that won't quit. He does, part of his things are showing high schoolers in Willowbrook how to get the most efficiency out of the cars, and operates contests. And in fact, I think he's traveled to various spots of the country
Right.
to run contests on how to get, well, in the vernacular it would be to hop up a motor.
Yep.
And there are things, I suppose it would be safe to say, how to get the most efficiency out of a motor.
Yeah.
Make it go the best, and that. And he's really into that, and his cars are fabulous.
Yeah. He's got a Willie, a 1940 Willie that's pink, green. Oh, he's got all kinds of beautiful colors on it. And when he leaves the show, he makes a show. He does a show for us when he leaves.
And he's just one.
Yeah,
he's just one
right.
of many, many. I don't know. The last time I was there was, I know there was at least, I think, 20 cars.
Yeah, yeah.
And different, and people, if you're interested in that, the people that have done this and rebuilt them and put them together, or however, I'm so proud of them that they can talk your ear off if you're interested in that type of thing. And so I would say that's, well, it's a great event to have in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, in Villa Park, what am I
That's all right.
saying?
That's all right. We're just as good as Chicago. But you're right. I met a lady for the first time in the last 3 years that came with her car. She was a senior, and she came with a friend who's a younger man. Her husband passed away and built from almost scratch this 1920 Model A convertible, and it was just gorgeous. It's on our website.
It'd have to be in 1930.
Pardon?
Model A's, the first Model A came out in 28.
I said 20, I'm sorry, 1930. And it was gorgeous. And I said, so your husband built this? And she rattled off the specs on the engine for me, as far as what the engine, cubic centimeter, horsepower, all that. And I'm going, you must have worked on this with your husband to know all that. She says, absolutely, she did. And I want to say, I don't know how old she is, but she's a senior. And she will be back, and she's getting lots of votes for her and her husband's car. So go look at it. I think it's the last one on the list. But just beautiful cars, and the monster cars that were from the 70s. We got Barracudas. We've got 57 Chevys, Bel Airs that are absolutely gorgeous. They're pristine. Lots of Corvettes show up from the 1990s through the year 2000 and up. Trucks, there's trucks there. There's El Caminos there. There's Cadillacs, Sedan DeVilles from 1970s that I remember driving around with my dad that are now almost antique quality cars.
What is the gentleman, does he have a Model T pickup truck? It seemed to me that there was this...
I don't know.
It was either, it might have been a Model A you're talking about, but I thought it was a Model T, a 20 Model T.
Not sure. But we've got, and some of the cars are, they're like a living room in the back seat. You remember the size that some of these cars had, the old 1940s tank quality cars that were built in that area. There's one guy there that was helping me with some paint that I needed to do on my van because he was in the business for 40 years. And he's got this beautiful car that he shows up late for the shows because there's a circuit that they go through. You know, they go to different places. Some of the Hooters facilities have car shows. There's a guy in Addison that gives out ice cream for free, so everybody runs over there, you know, on Sunday nights. But we're just glad to have the show continue, and we will, as I said, every Sunday night, 4 to 8 p.m. at Cortese Park through September 25th, and we'll be there this Sunday with that band, the
and
group that's going to be there.
And one of these days, when Al lets me, I'm going to be hopefully your favorite disc jockey.
We'll see.
At least for that night.
You got to upgrade from discs. You can't have to PC. You can't have records. That's not going to happen. But we'll see. Hey, we got a few minutes left, and I wanted to mention some other things that are going on here in the village. And anybody that's been down Ardmore Avenue will see a scene like this. And that's the new Ardmore and Vermont corner, which is the streetscape that they did at Ardmore from the metro station all the way to the bridge that goes over the Canadian National tracks going towards North Avenue. And it is just gorgeous. The plants, the landscaping that they've done around this is really coming to life. And the lighting that goes now up to and over the bridge, our new light fixtures. This is the space where they're building that new project. So it's step one of the upgrade of that whole area, and that's a TIF district to help improve the neighborhood. And this is just a beautiful start to it. Have you been down there, Sid? You seen that?
I haven't seen that, but you're bringing to mind back in the 30s and 40s when that area was just before it started building again, when it was just more or less of a swamp, and there was just a little bitty shelter, I think, with train ticket closet.
Oh, yeah.
And
For the Chicago Northwestern.
and the Northwestern.
Yeah.
And it was only manned, I think, in the morning.
Yeah.
And we used to say, well, you know, who would go in there? And you could, well, at the evening, every morning they had to wash it out because the aromas were not too, what you would call the
Well,
greatest.
here's another thing that's going on in town, and I'm proud of this because it's a new group in town called the Fire Corps. And the Fire Corps is like our CERT team. And this night, tonight, is National Night Out. And there will be an event at the Iowa Community Center with our CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team. They're the people that help the police department in an emergency. The Fire Corps is ongoing helping the fire department. And this is just one example. This is a fire hydrant that was painted over, primed. That's a primer color that's going to have the fire hydrant red painted over this. We are going around all the main drags in town and the neighborhoods and repainting these, the ones that are not adopted with the new art design, to make them look better, because these have been rusting over the years and they're just an eyesore. And the fire chief and the fire department here has asked us to go around and do that. So we just went down all of Ardmore. We started repainting, and these are near the train stations. And the next stop is Addison Road, and then Villa Avenue will be next. And we're going to get all of these up to par and make them better for the community so that it looks good.
Have you checked? Have you checked with all of the local dogs?
Well, yeah, they are happy with the work we're doing, because obviously that's their prime spot to relieve themselves.
And the more serious vein, Al, is the Adopt a Fire Hydrant. Is that program still going on?
It is. In fact, some people have adopted or readopted their fire hydrant. You're always able to do that. Contact the Villa Park Fire Department, their non-emergency number, at the Ardmore Station on South Ardmore Avenue. Just look online, invillapark.com. You get all the details for email or phone number, and you can adopt a fire hydrant. It's $25 to adopt it. They give you the paint, and you can paint it within reason to your heart's content, whatever design you like. Go ahead.
Nothing I've seen, of course. No, I just lost my thing.
That's all right, because I gotta race through some other stuff here. Let me show you the next thing that's coming, and that is the strip mall on North Avenue in front of North Park Mall has some new businesses. On the very far end of that is Dunkin' Donuts, which is open. In the middle is T-Mobile, Firehouse Subs, and then Chipotle. I always say it unless somebody else will correct me. Chipotle is a new Mexican restaurant that is not yet open, but it is on that corner of the strip mall, and that is a great new addition to North Avenue. I've been to the Dunkin' Donuts. I'm looking forward to going to Firehouse Subs and Chipotle. And maybe I'll stop in T-Mobile. There's a couple more businesses going to be there. And then just, if you're looking at this now, to the right of it, across the lane that goes into North Park Mall, we're told that a Wendy's is going in there. So that'll be in a prime spot for people going down North Avenue. You been over there, Sid?
I'm going. That's kitty corner from my house. You know, across town, that is.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say one thing, Al, before we sign off.
Yeah.
Folks, both Al and I should get an attaboys for not mentioning anything about politics and our own personal preferences.
Yeah, well, you know, they can go to whatever channel and station they want and get all the details. Go online and get all the details about all the things that are going on with politics. I won't even say they're positive or negative. They're out there. Go get them. Go get them. Let me show you one more thing because this is really cool. Wildfire Harley-Davidson on North Avenue had their grand opening of this enormous facility. Over $4 million they spent on North Avenue at Ardmore. Just a little bit west of Ardmore, where they have this brand new entertainment center and training for motorcycles that is just gorgeous. I was there this weekend. They had a ribbon cutting ceremony, and it was just amazing. So a lot of good things going on in Villa Park. We have to sign off quickly now because we're at our hour's length. Glad to be back with the Uptown Villa Park Show with my co-host Sid Berg. Sid, go ahead and sign off.
Well, I hate to have to leave, but it is time to go. And it's been a pleasure to be with you this last hour. And both Al and I we promise to do this again and again and have interesting people that we can talk to.
Even more interesting than us.
Well,
If
is
it's
that possible?
I don't think so. Well, folks, thanks a lot. We're going to sign off now. We'll be very quiet and show you our Uptown logo. Where is it? Oh, I'll get it. I'll get it. There we go. Thanks for watching, folks. Al Stash, Uptown Villa Park. See you next time.